intimidating to speak to people who like you. I really is. You feel that you can only disappoint them. The last time I spoke in Hollywood, it's classic. It's too bad I don't have a juxtaposition. The last time I spoke in Hollywood was also at a film festival, and they invited me, I guess on a lark, to be on a panel with 3 liberal left critics, and it was to analyze the film The Making of Deep Throat. I'm not talking about the Nixon era. I'm talking about the pornography film Deep Throat. And when I was introduced, everybody booed. And I felt great. I just felt great. It was, I can't get any lower. You know? So believe it or not, that was in some ways a little easier. I will say this though, it may be a reflection of my age. I hope it isn't, because I know I would have felt this at 20. I have libertarian views on private sexuality, but somehow or other, an audience of men and women watching fellatio. Does that strike anybody? Am I the only one who finds that a somewhat decline in our culture? And I said that at the audience. It was as if I started speaking Sanskrit. There was the concept of elevated culture. They knew of elevation, but it was their elevation and my elevation were different. We really are. I'm not happy to say this. There really are 2 nations. Sometimes I get calls on the radio. Oh, Dennis, come on. This is. I don't believe in this any right and left. What is really the? But there really is. There really are people who have utterly different views. You just heard very eloquently. In fact, you took my whole talk, which is fine because I can talk on Haydn. Mention my classical music background. But no, she said so beautifully and so correctly, why are these films like these not made in Hollywood? It is beyond sadness to me. People who have been given the most on earth, forgive my language, but they crap on the greatest place on earth. And that's really what Hollywood does. Nobody's asking to have sanitized films. Films are supposed to explore the nooks and crannies of life. But to be in a war against the greatest organized evil of our time and to not have a film celebrate that fact.
Right.
Isn't that astonishing? Suggestion,
Yes.
by the way, to turn off your cell phones.
Yes.
I do believe in capital punishment, remember. So, that was a little too enthusiastic. Not to have had one film to celebrate what is happening. Do you know what I realized? The severity of the problem. And the good and evil is, yes, you correctly pointed out. I wrote a column and did a show on the following subject. If you're opposed to, this was years ago, about 2 years ago, said, if you're opposed to the war in Iraq, please give me a call. I won't debate you on the war. I respect the fact that people can be opposed to the war in Iraq. But can we not agree, whether or not you're opposed to it, that the people we're fighting in Iraq are bad people? I mean, isn't that somewhat elementary? Imagine a talk show host in 1943. Look, I don't know how you feel about the World War we're in, but could you at least acknowledge that the German and Japanese regimes we're fighting are bad? The person would have been laughed off the media. I mean, what is this guy nuts? And yet, caller after caller said, no, they're not evil. They are simply opposing American occupation of their country. That is what the average person left of center believes about the monsters we have been fighting in Iraq. As I said, I can understand those who didn't want us to enter. I understand that. But I cannot understand, I can't fathom morally one's inability to acknowledge the evil we're fighting. These people, I mean, I won't describe to you because as a talk show host, I'm privy not to any secret information, but that's all I do is read about the world. And so I see things that are done there. Do you know one of the reasons that Al-Qaeda and their ilk are losing favor in Iraq? They would take children, and I won't do any more than this one, and they would rip their faces off, not their neck, their faces with piano wire in front of their parents to scare them into support for Al-Qaeda. And this was cited, this actual practice was cited by Muslim Iraqis as one of the reasons to oppose these people. And so I would say things like this to my callers. They say, well, Bush is evil. And that would pretty much end it. By the way, dialogue is very, very difficult today in America. And it's not because of us.
Right.
We do not have something comparable to this. The utter dismissal of the human who makes the other argument. The human. You see the David Horowitz Center, right? You see this. Now, of course, it's done always, and then, yes, it does this. They do deserve an applause, absolutely. Whenever I read a critique of David from the left, it's of David. It's never of what he wrote or what he said. And I get much of that very similarly. I just read, because what I do is periodically to see how I'm defamed. In fact, here's something sobering. People come over to me often and say, Dennis, and I'll be very honest, people often say they love me. It was very touching to me, and I do extend myself on the radio. I really am who you think I am. And so then they'll say often, well, I'm sure you're told that all the time. To which my response is, well, to show you how that isn't true, just Google Dennis Prager asshole. and you get between, depending when it is, I don't know why, it varies 12 to 39,000 hits. So please know you're permitted to say you like me or even love me, and I won't go to my head, because there's always 39,000 who think at least I am that. But that is what is done. That is what, do you know that there is, what happens is there's no dialogue of ideas, there is only defamation of character. I'm speaking at the University of California, Santa Barbara for David's group next week on the Islamofascism subject. And so I Googled my name in news to see what was the latest. Sure enough, the latest in the University of California, Santa Barbara paper, there was a big controversy over inviting me and spending a grand total of university funds of $1,000.
Oh my God.
Compare that to what liberals are given from university funds, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a pop. And so this was a controversy. Why? Because some Muslim students said, we can't have Dennis Prager, he is anti-Muslim and anti-gay. Now, they're both lies. They're both incredible lies. But it doesn't matter. My ideas are of no consequence. There is no doubt in my mind the person who said it, I'm trying to invite him on the show. I'm going to ask him on what grounds he would say that. But he has no grounds. Grounds aren't necessary for the left. It is all you need to know is homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, racist, sexist, intolerant. That's it. If you just know those, you are now on the left. You are capable of doing anything you wish on the left because you do not have to grapple with the ideas. There is one blog, a guy who particularly hates me, a Jewish guy. Jews are my people. And they're also the people who made the golden calf. Anyway, that was just totally gratuitous insult, but it's there. Anyway, this guy's a Jewish guy, and just like black liberals are the greatest source of hatred for a Clarence Thomas, Jewish leftists have a particular dislike for those of us who, especially if we are even prominent in Jewish life, this drives them nuts. The idea that a Jew should be invited, as I am, to synagogues as a scholar in residence and is not on the left is intolerable. It's just intolerable.